I know you've heard all about chemtrails. Well, I caught a chemtrail guy red-handed. We're going to talk to Umberto Vivanco about cloud seeding. He's a cloud seeding pilot. Okay, Umberto, this is your cloud seeding airplane.
It is.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, this is a Piper Comanche 250 carbureted, and it's been rigged with the flare rack for cloud seeding purposes. So nothing else is really out of the ordinary, from the plane aside for that and the button to ignite.
Okay, so let's look at these things. So these are individual flares.
Yes.
And tell us about the material that you spray in the cloud.
It's basically just silver iodide. It's injected into the cloud. Well, the cloud will actually suck it up from the airplane once you engage, and it's a condensation nuclide. It'll just kind of collect more moisture and hence more the rain. We don't make the rain, we just help it rain more than it would.
Now we're in Texas where the season runs, I think you said, from spring into the fall?
Yes, so about early April to late September is mainly the heavier period.
And how often will you fly?
Well, it really depends. Last week I did about 3 missions. This week I think I'm going to do maybe 1 or 2. And there are weeks where we don't. It's just dry. We have a high pressure system flowing through, and it just really kills off any moisture in the area. So it really depends on what Mother Nature provides.
And how does it work? How does a typical mission work?
Early morning I would normally get a message indicating the possibility of chance for the day. So either it's no chance to high chance and anything in between. Anything other than a no chance, I usually stand by with the plane, either in Hondo or Uvalde, and I just wait for the meteorologist to say, you know what, in the next hour I need you to get airborne and head out to the north, or give me a direction to go and find a thunderstorm and seed it.
Now you're talking to a meteorologist who's looking at live radar, and he has a phone link with you, correct?
Yeah, so we communicate just the same radio frequency. It's a different frequency we use, but it's live communications, and as he sees the thunderstorms develop or fade, he will either tell me to go hit it or, forget and go to another cell.
Now, of course, you are flying towards thunderstorms.
Yes.
And the rest of us are flying away from them.
Yeah.
So it can get a little hairy sometimes, can it?
It can. Through training, and as the more you do it, you become more familiar on what spots in the thunderstorms you want to approach. It's all basically VFR. It's just trying to find the place where the most uplift is into the cell, and ignite your flares at the right time.
So you attempt to fire the flares and have the uplift bring it up into the storm. Yes. You generally don't go in the cloud.
Correct. We try to stay below and away, as we get just as close as we need to get into that part of the cell where it's developing the lift, and inject it into that, and the cloud will do its thing from there.
Okay, so we're looking at the flares here, and you've got, I think you said a total of 40?
Well, it's 38 per side, so I have 38 on this side and 38 on the other side of the plane.
And they burn for how long?
Approximately 40 seconds each.
And you can fire these individually?
Yes, so I have a button inside that I will activate a flare, and if I need to activate 2 flares per run, I'll activate one, then the other right after.
And how long does a typical mission last?
A mission can last anywhere from about an hour to 3 or 4 hours. Sometimes we may have to stop and fuel up and go back up if there's still thunderstorms developing in the area. Sometimes I'll fly 40 minutes just to get to a cell, and then this seeding may take anywhere from 15-20 minutes to 40 minutes, depends on how hard it is to find the right spot.
And who pays for it?
Basically the counties. It's all paid for by the counties, and I don't get too involved with that side of the business, but it's divided into the counties, whichever county decides to opt in or opt out.
Johns Hopkins University has been monitoring the outbreak of COVID-19, and they've been mapping the infections on this map. And we can see now this figure. Over 81,000 cases of the virus have been confirmed worldwide. And this, of course, is the tragic one. Over 2,700 people have died from the disease. Now, it's important to stress that daily the number of new infections is starting to drop, but the virus is spreading further across the globe. For the first time over the the last 24 hours, a case was reported and confirmed in Latin America, in Brazil. But also, if we look in Europe, now for the first time, we've had cases confirmed in Croatia, Switzerland and Austria. Evelyn Laverick can talk us through more of the story.
Austria joins the club no one wants to be a member of, countries which have cases of the new coronavirus. A couple has been quarantined in a hospital in Innsbruck. The town is a skiing destination for many Europeans, and with schools on half-term holiday, tourism is complicating the struggle to contain the virus. In the UK, children returning from a break in northern Italy, Europe's worst affected country, have been sent home from school while the buildings have a deep clean. On Spain's island of Tenerife, hundreds of hotel guests are in lockdown after an Italian tourist was hospitalised in a suspected case. It's causing anxiety among locals.
I shouldn't be complaining and saying to my son, who lives in Milan, that we are suffering here the same way. But this is something that can easily happen, given the large flow of people travelling and the tourism we have here.
La mobilità delle persone con lo turismo che viene aquí es fácil.
The vast majority of infections remain in China, the epicentre of the outbreak, but now over 40 countries have reported cases. The virus is no respecter of borders, and the new clusters are increasing concerns in some of the wealthiest nations in Europe and Asia, as well as those with fewer resources. In Iran, where more people have died from the virus than anywhere outside China, the head of the country's task force has tested positive after appearing ill. He later posted a video online promising to bring the virus under control within weeks, but officials are refusing to impose quarantines. And the Shia shrine at the city of Qom, which attracts millions of pilgrims, is still open, despite it being a hotbed of the virus. Meanwhile, officials from the World Health Organization returning from a mission to China have advised governments to prepare for a further spread of the virus. A quick response and the equipping of hospitals will be key in meeting the challenge.
And every illness, virus, is a frequency. And therefore, you can deliver viruses in the form of frequency. If you deliver the frequency on which the virus is operating and you connect that into the human energetic field, that energetic field will start vibrating in sympathy with that virus frequency, and the if you like, physical, not that there is such a thing, but the physical expression of that will be that the person suddenly goes down with a virus. So we should realize that what happens in terms of chemical reaction in the body is actually just a chemical manifestation of a frequency energetic change in the body. And through this, frequencies can deliver viruses. And the more powerfully the frequency is delivered, the more impact it will have. And this brings us round to 5G, which is taking that power onto a whole new level.
It's even more, first of all, it's what I say to the community I have in Israel, that first of all, the foundation is physics. Chemistry and biology are secondary, meaning our electromagnetic field, this is, and our light environment and our water environment, these are all physics, and they establish how our chemistry will be and how our biology will be. So first of all is which frequency we live in, which electromagnetic field we live in. So it correlates with what you just said. And secondly,
what it also correlates with is how, in my lifetime, we've gone from negligible technological radiation in the atmosphere to phenomenal radiation, not least through Wi-Fi. And that is affecting human perception, and it's affecting human health all the time.
And joining us now in studio is the Chief Medical Officer at the Department of Health, Dr. Tony Holohan. Dr. Holohan, you're welcome.
Thank you.
This row now that's brewing between the Minister and the IRFU, why was the decision made to cancel the rugby match?
The rugby match would have involved a number of people travelling from an area that we've now added to the list of affected countries. where we believe there is community transmission, and we think there would be a high risk of cases being imported from that part of the world. And the match is due on the 7th of March, which is less than one incubation period away from now. So no other responsible decision on public health grounds could be taken other than the one we recommended today after our meeting of the National Public Health Emergency Team, which I chair. We made that recommendation to the Minister. No other responsible public health decision could be made. We'll be happy to engage with the IRFU and to explain the rationale for the decision, but that was the basis of the decision, public health.
Now, we're saying we're still in the containment phase, but the European Centre for Disease Prevention saying that with the clusters in Italy, we see Spain today, Germany, these clusters are going to break out across Europe.
So they have, as a result of the experience in Italy over the weekend, categorised the risk of something like this happening elsewhere in Europe as moderate to high. There have been individual cases occurred in a number of locations. And in fact, in Spain and in Croatia, and in Austria, the cases that have arisen from people who've travelled from Italy. And that underscores the importance of the decision, in fact, that we've taken in relation to the rugby match.
However, the advice for school children returning from Italy in the north and here is different.
So the advice for school children is the same as the advice for everybody. If they're experiencing symptoms, to self-isolate, to contact the GP, and to be guided from there by the advice of the GP. If they're not experiencing symptoms, to go to the HSE website, where they'll be given substantial information about what they may be able to do in the event that they do eventually develop symptoms. So that's what we're advising children and anybody returning from any of the affected regions. You've highlighted those helpfully for us this evening. So it's Italy, it's also Iran, it's Japan, it's South Korea, Singapore, and all of mainland China.
OK, Dr. Holan, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you for joining us.
A holiday from hell is how one tourist described the situation at this hotel in southwest Tenerife after they were all slipped a note under their hotel room doors directing them to stay inside, and not because of the passing sandstorm, but COVID-19.
We are told we're in quarantine due to an Italian doctor testing for the coronavirus. We cannot go out either front or back. There are police cars stationed at all entrances.
Both the doctor and his wife came from the Lombardy region in Italy and remain in hospital in Tenerife as more tests are carried out back at the hotel, where it's confirmed a number of Irish people are staying. It's not the only tourist hub to be in lockdown. Here in Austria, guests at this hotel in Innsbruck in the Alps are being tested too, following one of the workers contracting the virus after visiting the Lombardy region recently. Northern Italy is one of the worst affected areas in Europe. 11 people have now died from coronavirus. Iran too continues to battle with surging numbers. Among those infected is the country's deputy health minister, who was only seen yesterday repeatedly mopping his brow at a press conference. With global cases now passing 80,000, health officials are warning that people should do more to prepare for that possible pandemic.